I have a feeling Rina talks to herself a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you guys spend a bit of time meandering through the residences. And especially compared to what Claudius knows, this could be a fucking palace.
He's starstruck.
As
Every
far
single
as
house,
he's
he's just
concerned.
like...
And the houses are as ornate as the clothes are. You can see like angelic figures like leaning off of balconies. You can see like just these sprawling arbors, these elaborate gardens, and just it's obnoxious. And it takes a while before you find a gentleman walking, just meandering down the street on his own.
No.
Yes.
And he holds his breath till he faints. he didn't get the picture that this is a performance. So, and he's just like,
And I'm just absolutely...
and then just...
And
Oh my god! Oh my... Help! Someone help! And I yell it loudly enough that he can hear it, but not loudly enough that, like, it draws a lot of attention from the people who are far out of earshot.
okay. And the gentleman turns and he has this very elaborate, shiny purple suit that he's wearing, and he actually also has a bustle around the tails of his suit that is forming almost like a flower shape. And he comes over and
What kind of shoes is he wearing?
he's wearing just leather shoes. He's heavens, good. What is the matter with him?
I'm not sure. He just collapsed. We were having a great time and eating and having a wonderful time here today. And
oh my! Should I send for the doctor? And he here.
Give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Please, darling, just sit down here. Heavens, sir, are you all right? And he starts like patting,
out cold.
and he's like shaking, and he's like gripping his shoulder and like giving him a shaking. Oh God, is this his spine? I should send for the doctor at
Oh
once.
shit.
Do you have any water?
No, not here. But I live just down the street.
Yes. Could we go get water for him?
Would that be enough? What is it? His back broken then?
Yes.
He was misshapen as a child. Please don't mention he's very insecure.
Heavens, child, he's unconscious. I don't think he'd hear any of this. We will certainly. No, my neighbor lives just here. We'll go up there and we'll get you some water.
Thank you.
Please, my dear, come this way. This is too much for you. And
They're
he
just
like
leaving me in the middle of the road.
Yes.
he like leads
Yes, we
her.
are.
He like leads her away towards this like sprawling mansion and through the gate and Gertrude, there's a man fallen in the road. Please,
Get him some water, something.
please sit here, my dear. And so he like goes to like, and he has his arm currently around Rinna as he's like setting her down.
Snatched, okay.
I'm very, very visibly shaken. And have I spotted where his money is?
At this time, yes, he's had his arm around you and like it's kind of moved his suit enough. So go ahead and roll perception.
Rena's visibly shaken because her
19.
theft
Yeah,
partner
you can-
just knocked himself the fuck out.
You can see that there is actually a small like shape in the inside pocket of his suit jacket, and you can see that there is one on his slacks as well.
All right. The room that we're currently in, Gertrude's house.
You're currently in like this sprawling garden.
Okay. Yes. So, we're still standing together?
Yeah, he's like lowering you down toward the bench.
Okay. And so I'm kind of using him to steady myself.
Okay, sleight of hand with advantage.
Super cool.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thank God. Sleight of hand. 24.
Yeah, you just
time, man.
the most nimble fingers. He wouldn't feel it if you had like slugged him first.
Yes.
And you just very quickly snatch something out of his pocket and slip it into your own.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, and he lowers you down onto the bench and I'll go fetch Gertrude, my
Yes,
dear. Just
please.
I'll get some water
Thank
for your
you,
friend.
thank you.
And we will send word for the doctor.
Wonderful.
Gertrude, and he
he leaves. I'm gone. You better be gone as well.
I'm knocked out.
You're knocked
Did
out?
I wake up?
Carly,
He's like genuinely knocked out. What an unbelievable moron.
She says
All right,
word
so
12.
he's inside the house now, right?
Yeah, he's gone into
Intelligence
I'm
0.
up.
Charisma
Okay,
I'm
negative
running
2.
over there,
Okay.
and I slap him across the face so unbelievably hard.
Okay, she just fucking like
Like I bitch slapped this guy.
as hard as she possibly can.
Did it work?
We have to go.
I'm out.
So we evacuate the premises.
Different directions or same directions?
Same direction. We evacuate the premises.
Okay, so you just
we
book it.
We book it. We are in between the houses, and we
Okay.
just sort of vanish from sight.
Okay.
Oh my god.
That's not suspicious at all.
The only reason
I mean, there's no one around. That was the whole point of following him here.
All right.
Yeah, that could
so
have gone real bad if you
Oh, I know.
we have our murder hobo.
Yay.
Yay!
All right, good con though. Very good.
He's a
So
true.
what do we call that? The sleeping man? I quite like that.
I call that we'll call that sleeping man.
Connie's just a
Maybe next time
masochist.
you couldn't knock yourself out.
That what do you mean?
Never mind. Is there an entry point that I can get through without going back by the guards?
No, there is not.
All right, that's
There is
fine.
one way in and one way out.
All right. I pull out I guess we would have eaten all the spun sugar, right?
Yeah, you probably would have.
Okay. How much is in the bag?
Where do you pause to take a look?
We're like within the residences,
Okay.
far enough away that
Okay. So you pull out this little purse, and it is actually monogrammed. And has like this very delicate gold embroidery on it.
right.
And inside is 65 gold pieces.
Fantastic. I dump the gold into my own satchel. I take the monogram and I shove it in inside one of the shrubbery.
Okay.
I shove it as far as I can get it in there.
Okay, you just shove it in a bush and then just
Yep. We're gonna go back by the spun sugar. Would you like another spun sugar?
No, I don't.
I think I am craving one. I'm gonna get
I should buy one.
I am going to. I'm gonna get another spun sugar, please. Can I get the phoenix shaped one?
Of course, here you are. And she like hands you, and it's like wrapped in this very delicate, almost edible, like it's an edible paper that is
Yes.
slightly opaque.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's go find our friends.
Oh, that's.
And we leave the fancy part of the city.
Taking credit for
I like
Ocean's
this.
8.
Honestly.
What do they call this?
Claire de Lune
Pretending
is
to be
playing.
someone else? It's fun.
It's called lying.
Lying.
It's called lying. And so we are back into the main part of the city. My cloak, I flip it back inside out. I do eat my spunk sugar because I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so you approach the blacksmith as they are leaving.
Yeah. I'm gonna give
And-
you 30 gold pieces.
Sweet.
You don't get
And-
more. You get less than half, but
I have no idea.
yeah.
What
So-
was this? What was the tip?
I gave you more than half.
Thank you.
Yes, it's your
Freaking-
first try.
Inside check.
Currently roll deception.
You're not gonna beat me.
14.
I rolled 19 natural, and I have 5 23. You're not gonna beat me.
Very
Roll
grateful.
6, total 26, so no.
Nothing you will ever be able to do.
I roll a natural 1. Okay. Yes, that equals 20.
She has a cancelled. It's the truth.
So you see Rinna and Claudius walking up arm in arm, and Rinna has this beautiful little spun sugar phoenix that she's nibbling on.
Oh, also, I take my hair down
Okay.
because my hairstyle was up before. I'm gonna take it down and kind of change it just so
Okay.
that I'm not immediately recognizable again.
Okay.
Is that spun sugar?
Yes, would you like some?
I love some.
You can have the rest of it, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it's so shaky.
All right. So you guys.
She's gonna find someone who's a
And now let's head over to Angerod. Angerod, you are looking for clothes.
Action time. Please meet another bastard that you get into a
That was
feud
awesome.
with.
That's great.
That was very good. Very well done.
All right. So
How much
Angerod,
were the spun sugar things?
7 each.
7 each? Okay.
No, there were 3, 5 each, because you said it was 7 for 2.
Give me
Oh,
4
yeah.
gold. You're gonna give me 4 gold.
What?
You have to pay. The spun sugar costs money.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping up with things costs money.
But was that part of the.
Yes, it was part of it, obviously.
How did that happen?
It makes you look natural.
And then I realized, of course she is.
So
Alright,
Angerod,
understand.
You were directed before Rinna and Claudius kind of vanished off up the street because everything is kind of on a hill, similar to San Francisco, really how everything is just steep. So Angerod is directed down the street to what for this area is a very nice section of town, and you can see that here there is a little bit more of that fashion coming through. You can see some really elaborate hairstyles. It looks like someone has spun the side of their hair into a rose and is just like browsing through hats. And here it's not just like clothes store or tailor. You can see something that is a hattery. You can see something that is just shoes. Something is just shawls. You have just bags, and it's like everything has their place. Where is Angerod going?
First, she's gonna like spin in the street and just go obvious. She's gonna pause for a second and like kind of step off to the side and just people watch for a minute. Does she hear anybody with an accent kind of close to hers? Or any kind of accent reminiscent of her own?
Perception check?
Yeah.
Hearing check?
15.
You can hear some various accents. You can't quite place anyone in particular, though.
Okay. I'm gonna chance it and just talk like myself because I don't like the other accent. She's gonna look for a place that is displaying dresses similar to the more fashionable ones that she's seeing walking through the streets.
Okay, and you can see this window has some beautiful painted filigree and is displaying several gowns with that same very elaborate bustle on like these patterned dresses. And when Angerod opens the door, a very soft bell chimes behind her, and it smells of linen, it smells of silk, and it smells of dried roses, just the whole room.
Yes, excellent.
And there's a woman standing there with very soft yellow and just a wasp of a waist, and this very slightly askew hat, and a very, it's a working bustle, but it is still very much just as pretty as she can be. And she turns and, yes, good morning. May I help you?
Yes, good morning. I am a merchant. I'm traveling from the border of Atesa, and I seem to find myself out of fashion. I am fascinated by the dresses here, and I would love to try one if you have any that you think would be in my size.
Yes, I perhaps have 2 or 3. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
I mean, that is a fabulous bustle that you are wearing.
Oh, this is really just for working so that I don't bump the displays. But come, let me get your measurements, dear.
All right.
And she takes you over and helps you up onto this cushion. She lifts your arms and just very carefully begins to take measurements here and measurements there.
And what was your name?
My name is Benevolence. It's lovely to meet you. What was your name? Lift that arm a bit higher, please.
My name is Giselle. It's nice to meet you.
Giselle, lovely name. And can you turn for me? Do you twirl to the left or the right?
Well, typically
I go both ways.
I do go both ways. Typically I twirl to the right, but it depends on my dance partner if I am dancing. Individually it is to the right.
To the right, I see. All right then. And she like lifts your skirt a little bit. And is this the thickness of the fabric that you prefer?
I prefer something lighter. I do quite a bit of traveling, but whatever you think is the most beautiful.
Let me see, a fashionable traveling gown. Yes, I think I have something for you. Just give me a moment, dear. Here, just step down carefully now. Just one moment. And she like claps her hands, and then this other woman like scurries out, and her hair's a little frazzled. She like ties on a bustle and tucks her like apron over the tie, and she like tries to straighten herself up a little bit. And yes, what can I get? I need the cream traveling gown that we have in the back, please. The one that can be tucked in. And she nods and hurries off again. And would you like a glass of water? Or I have lemons and limes in season if you would like some in them.
That would be wonderful, thank you.
Of course, thank you. And was it a lemon and lime or?
Either one, I go both ways.
Well, I see why you would want a dancing skirt then. And she goes off and brings you back like lime and lemon in the glass. I dance whenever work permits me, ma'am.
Well, I am currently your work, and I would permit you.
Good heavens, you are forward, but it's very nice to meet you, Giselle. Now, where is that gown? And she like goes off to get the
Rod
dress.
strikes out again.
And
Every damn time.
My fucking track record.
And so she brings back this beautiful cream traveling gown. And there's actually a bit of a color fade up from the hem where it's almost like this tan color so that you can see the dirt won't show immediately on the hem of this beautiful cream gown. And the bustle is set a little bit high. It's definitely good for like riding and things like that. And she ties you into it and she pins it here and pins it there. Yes, I think this will do quite nicely. It will take me about 2 days to properly hem it and get it fitted for you. Is that all right?
I believe so. I think that my companions and I are going to be in town for a little bit.
Ah, lovely. And where can I have word sent when the dress is finished?
Oh, this quaint little place that we found, the Ballantrae Tavern?
Yes, the Ballantrae. That is a very lovely place. Word to Giselle at the Ballantrae then.
You might send it to my friends. They might know her name better. Send it to Remember.
Remember. All right, I can do that.
I don't believe I gave my name. Is the only reason.
Ah, I see. Yes, that does happen from time to time. And that will be 13 gold for the gown.
Oh, hell yeah. It was way less than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful. As another question for you, I saw that your friends that came from the back had bustles that tied on. I am anticipating that I will be perhaps venturing into the finer parts of town. Do you have something that could dress this up a little bit so that I could perhaps engage in fine company?
Oh, I can install hooks on it if you like.
Alright, and then do you have an additional bustle or something that would make it more fit for
Perhaps, yes, but not anything that quite matches that exact fabric.
That is a problem.
My girls typically all wear the same uniform, and they tend to not like to sit on their bustles, so we have a bustle made that they can tie on when in front of house.
Alright. Do you happen to this is something that I think might be an investment. This dress that I'm wearing now, the one that is more fit for travel, do you think that it would be something that I could wear in perhaps noble company?
Perhaps. It is certainly one for between places.
Wonderful. Do you have anything fit for meeting with someone at the higher stature?
I can have something made for you. I don't really carry anything like that in-house.
That would be correct. That would be how it works. No worries, and I don't believe I will be in town for long enough to merit having something made from scratch, but I am sure you would do beautiful work.
Well, thank you. I try to do my best, and if you do change your mind, it wouldn't take me more than perhaps 2 or 3 days.
And how much would you charge for this bespoke piece?
Are you looking for something that is the pinnacle of fashion, or are you looking for something that is passable?
How well would the pinnacle of fashion travel? How small can it condense?
Oh, you would not want to squash that.
Yes, that is what I'm worried about. Never mind, it is alright. If I find that I have need of it, I know where to find you, Belen.
Rentals.
Well, thank you very much, and I will send word when your gown is ready. And here, this is for you. And she like writes something down, and here you are. That will be your receipt. And she hands it to you.
God damn, I thought you got the
Does
digits.
my receipt have her contact information?
It does.
Success!
And
The fucking
it is
finale.
most certainly like the receipt, and then at the very end you can see where her address
Like,
is
winky
written
smiley.
down.
This only took me a fucking year, y'all. I finally did it.
Also, the accent that Sarah was doing just there was every woman in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Black
13
woman.
silver or 13 gold.
Yeah, 13 gold.
is my official favorite NPC ever. Ever.
Which one?
Rose.
Purple Leather Man. I loved his voice so much.
Marjorie.
It was incredible.
Marjorie.
Dictation.
You've already written this lovely receipt that I will most definitely be
Yeah,
keeping
the
for future
matrix.
reference. Would I put on my shoulder on the alterations for the cream gown?
Yes, I can do that for another 5 gold.
Yes. Could you maybe do it for 3 and a house call?
Shoulder shimmy.
So I would be calling on you anyways. This is
A little
not
bit of
accurate
this.
barter, but
Yes, that would be fine. And she like scribbles something down in a book.
thank you.
Ship
very
it.
much.
Ship
And just
it.
kind of a peck on the cheek.
And like
Oh.
face flushed, and she's heavens. And it's lovely to meet you, Miss Giselle.
It was absolutely wonderful to meet you, Benevolence. I do believe you will be seeing more.
I certainly hope so. Have a lovely afternoon, and I'll get started on that gown.
Thank you, Benevolence.
It is now canon that Angrod is a fella.
Listen, it's been a year and she needs to get some.
Wait,
That
Angerod,
unicorn was
what is
almost.
your-
It's been like a month of game time.
What is Angerod's race?
Elvin.
Okay, because all I'm seeing is Doctor Who with like Lizzie and the lizard lady. This is just muscles and all, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
seeing that.
Is there a costume shop anywhere around?
There would be a costume shop, yeah.
Can I skirt into that costume shop real quick?
Hello.
And this gentleman with huge glasses is standing there, and they like peek, and then they like take the glasses off, and they're, well, I hope those sell well, and then they like set them up on the shelf. And yes, how can I help you?
I'm looking for 6 of your cheapest masks. Paper if you can.
I don't really have any paper ones right now. It's not really time for festival, but I can get you a couple of the
Morning masks you have, or something that mimics it.
The funeral procession.
It's a tragedy.
Such a tragedy. And then he goes off and he
Damn shame.
gets down a couple
This is gonna
of
be
these.
like an underground BD.
These like they're these black masks that are like have this gold filigree around the edges. And,
Yes.
that will be 10 gold.
8.
Go ahead and roll a charisma check. You're gonna roll persuasion.
You're gonna have to do some shoulder shimmying
And a house call.
and a house call.
Some of this.
12.
Definitely none of this.
I can do 9.
All right. I'll do 9.
Okay. So mark off 9
Yeah.
gold.
All of this.
Looking
Um,
dead in your eyes.
Also, I'm looking for some form of hair lightener.
I don't really have anything here, but I can perhaps. if
Do you
speak
have
to-
something that looks close, that
Are
a
you?
wig?
You just want a wig
Yes.
for the funeral procession?
No. Different purposes.
All right, and he goes towards the back. He's, I've got these here. They shorter one, perhaps.
How much is it?
That one's 15 gold pieces.
Is it a lace front?
I was gonna say, yeah, right?
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Just chemically
Human
dye
yeah.
your hair later.
No, thank you. Thank you for the masks, though.
All
I
right.
hope to see you at the.
Oh no, I'll be busy, but say a prayer for me.
Of course. Good luck. Thank you.
Also, when do I pick up the dress with the rush order?
She will send word in like
Oh, okay, perfect.
yeah, she's gonna send word.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so everyone is kind of joining back up.
Savina's going to write a letter.
Okay.
Who is the two people that she was gonna write? She was gonna write to. Oh no, it was just Oak and the unicorn. She's gonna write a letter to Iniolis,
Okay.
just letting him know where she is.
And
Okay.
Elvis.
Yes.
Good.
And just basic information. And then it's like, you cannot respond to this message. I won't be here. Okay, bye.
Okay. All right.
And then she's gonna sign off. Okay, bye.
Okay.
In traditional Sabine.
Yes.
All right. And then, so you just kind of scribble that letter down, and you
Kind
find
of just find the
somewhere
nearest
to.
mailbox and toss it in.
Yeah, there is a woman standing next to this really ornate-looking box,
Mhm.
and it does have the crest of Euron on it. But you get the.
Can we talk really quickly, world building wise, about the
I've had a
postal
I've had a
system?
lot of fun with this.
Okay.
We can get into it later.
How does the postal system work? I need
We'll
to
get
know.
into it afterwards.
You heard of
I've
the
had a
Pony
lot of fun
Express?
with this. Have you ever read Going Postal?
The Terry Pratchett one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a really long time ago.
Yeah, okay. I've had a lot of fun with Euron.
Oh my god.
They have emails. But like AOL, instant messenger, like kind of
Good.
thing.
Yes,
Oh,
correct.
Oh no, where did I put my other...
100%. As if you may never get that back.
So,
It went under right between the two cups.
I'll have to put it when we're done.
When Claudius gets sick, does his voice clear up and he has a normal voice?
I'll see if I can get it.
No, that's just
It's okay, I can get it afterwards.
I'm
Good,
cute.
Alan, please
Be like my roguish mission.
Alright, I want to go up to Claudius and just
Oh, cool. Thank you.
poke his back real hard. Okay, so you come up and you poke his hump, and,
Yes.
and it moves.
And I smack. Ah! What was that?
What the hell is that?
What is that? And I like.
Okay. Alright.
Suspicious.
And
I'll
see.
tell you later.
Cutscene. That was just the fight between them.
I'm categorizing that. I won't forget.
Alright, so you guys have all.
Categorizing that?
Yes.
So, Angerod has kind of grouped up together with everyone. Everyone is back kind of milling around this street. And Brenna has a handful of masks.
Cabaret?
Would you like something?
What are the masks for?
Curious. You're gonna wear all of them?
Yes, I'm going to wear every
At the
single
same
one.
time.
One on each joint of my body. Here.
You only have 6?
Do you want one or not?
And that is not her strong suit.
Stiff
Here.
6 joints.
Here's a here.
Which ones would you pick?
Here, take it.
What is
Just
okay,
shove
thank-
it in.
Just
thank
take
you.
it.
Thank you.
Are we going to a masquerade?
Yes. Just keep them out of sight for now.
Okay, and so you guys are just kind of milling around this market district. And Rina is definitely looking for something. Like, there's definitely,
I'm looking too.
yeah, the two of you would be.
Insight check.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I want an insight check.
We're looking
Do it.
for things. How do you?
I'm like,
21!
I'm looking for things.
What are you looking for?
They're definitely, like, they
Oh,
definitely
yes.
have no interest in the actual, like, shops. They have no interest in anything. They seem to get a little more interested if they hear, like, a couple people walking by, but that would be what you would get with that insight check.
What are you looking for?
Oh, we didn't spend all your money in one place.
It's a funeral.
It's a funeral.
Who died?
You don't strike me as the religious type.
Religion? Is that necessary in funerals?
Touche. But
I believe in something. I believe in the hierarchy of the world. In the way things should work and the way things do work.
usually when
Or
you're
different
invited to a
things.
funeral, you know where the address is.
Who said it has a single address?
Was this gonna be like New Orleans when there's like
Yeah, right? Are we having carnival right now?
procession?
Details look for abandoned threads.
Yeah, go ahead.
What time
Go ahead and roll perception.
is this funeral
Okay.
at?
Whatever time it decides to begin.
Yeah, this is
15.
definitely fucking worse.
Uh,
than
you-
this.
50.
Tamsin would find a small silver bracelet back in, like, wedged between a couple cobblestones.
I gave you a mask.
Yeah, she went ahead and gave everyone these black gold filigree masks.
My aesthetic.
That should be fine.
She tends to like do good
And-
things.
That's kind of how the day goes. Is Rinna and Claudius keep looking, and you see these shops, you see different like gardens, and then you start to hear music coming down the road, and you hear this crowd of people just almost like they're mourning. You hear these wails and see people drunkenly like leaning against one another. And then you hear, "Come one, come all, when the Graveman comes to call, get your drinks, lose your head, Graveman gets you if you're dead." And that's what... And Rinna bursts into tears and slaps on her mask and fades into this throng of people.
Sophine slaps that
Same.
mask on and like goes head on
No,
like
no,
head on
no,
after her.
Okay? I need you guys to go ahead and roll performance checks.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm a silent mourner. Thank you very much.
What if Temsin just like stealthily creeps into the
15
audience?
Does Temsin not put on his mask?
Oh, he does.
Oh shit!
What?
It's a 2. Oh my god, yeah, it's a 2.
So remember starts to like try to pretend to cry because
She doesn't know what's going on.
and
She's like,
someone like shakes their head at you, and then they just suddenly grab you, and they're like wailing and crying, and you can see now that these people all look like they have drinks. People have veils. They're dressed in black, and they all have these black masks on, and it does look like a funeral procession. You can see someone at the very head of the group, and you're just winding down the streets, and it's loud and it's raucous, and people are like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, can't you take your mourning elsewhere?" And it goes like this for a little ways, and hold on, where was it? And so you just kind of wind down alleys and you wind down streets, and then suddenly you hear someone just randomly shout out, "Graveman's coming! Get your drinks!" And the crowd just fucking vanishes. Down alleyways, through doorways, everyone just disperses, and you 5 can see Rinna dart down a certain alleyway.
Yeah. And I kind of like give you guys a look, and I just dart.
I'm going to
I pursue.
shoot on after
Dart
her.
as well.
Fantastic.
Tokyo Drift style.
I remember under her breath.
Okay, and even the person that was like hanging onto you that looked like just
Sobered up
a drunken mourning fool, instantly sober, instantly gone. Like everyone just dispersed, and Rinna leads you to what seems like an unassuming house. The lights are dark. There's no lantern lit, but she goes and opens the door, and there is a solitary gentleman sitting inside with a very big top hat and a cane, and he looks as just ancient as ancient can be, and he glances up and he's come to have tea with the Graveman.
I'm just
I'd love a cup.
imagining the guy from
And
Tokyo.
And I kind of like look back. Drink the tea and steal nothing.
And he very carefully sets out 6 cups and pours tea for each of you, and then sets the pot back and sits back.
Can I do a medicine check on the, or like, I don't know what that would be necessarily. but-
Shot.
Take a fucking sip, babes.
17.
Okay.
Can I just like look around the room? Does it look like there's traces of magic here, runes, anything like that?
It's just an empty room. Like you came through the door, and the door, like you closed the door behind you, and there's just another door that's behind the Graveman.
How does his alignment look?
It's a little more dark than it is light, but it's not like disgusting.
What did my medicine check tell me?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
It is
pick that up.
fucking poison in that cup.
I already
I
drank
downed
it. We both
Shot.
already drank
Do
it.
Like,
I,
boom.
would I know what's in it?
You would not, but you can tell that just from like the taste that you got, it's definitely poison, and it will definitely kill you if you don't get the antidote.
Interesting flavor of tea.
Do you not want the tea?
Depends on what comes after.
If you don't want the Graveman's tea, then leave. I'm like, I already drank it, so obviously, like, I trust it.
Time to get any feeling.
That doesn't mean
I know
very much
doesn't.
to her.
But like,
no-
it is poison.
No
like
pull one either
all
way.
of like.
I just kind of nod and drink half of it,
And he just stares.
Do I see? Is
and
there?
then finishes the rest of it.
Okay.
Since Rinna drank it first, do I see any physical effects happening?
No.
Saphine's hands are like shaking. She's flashing way the hell back.
PTSD.
So Temlin saw them do it, so he's gonna
Okay.
drink
And
the
he
tea.
looks to Angrod and remember.
Remember saw Claudius and then like had a moment where she was thinking back to her conversation with Temsin and she's like
I am trusting you.
Trust me.
I don't want to follow my mother's issue.
I already drank it. Mine is the same as yours.
And he's already taking the cups that you've already drank, and he tucks it away and moves the tea aside and come back and drink with the Graveman.
Of course. Let's go.
And then he very slowly stands and he opens the door behind him, and it just looks black. You can't quite see what's through the door.
Down
I
we
should
go.
have drank my own tea before doing this. She like staggers behind them.
Okay. And you don't feel any effects. Like it's you know that you just drank some kind of poison.
No, she's like bordering a panic attack right now.
And as you pass through the doorway, you two would be very familiar as you go through this fields of magic. And you can see some rune like carved into the door frame as you pass through, and suddenly you're not in the middle of this like of Giron. You're not in Watervale. You're in it definitely looks like a merchant square. It definitely looks like a merchant shop. But there's like almost a tent over top, and you can see what looks like an almost greenish sky just beyond it. And everyone here is dressed in the same like clothes, and you can recognize people from the crowd, but they all have their masks up or like tied to their belts, and they're just going from door to door.
we're in the fade.
And you have found the Graveman's house.
Welcome to the black market.
Fucking gunsmith.
Alright, so
Let
me-
Why did we
The
miss
tea?
Graveman?
As long as you steal nothing, you'll get the antidote.
Alright.
It's
And how long does this?
it's not like that. You shop, you enjoy. The poisonous effects go in after you leave the Graveman's house without the antidote. As long as you steal nothing, you should have no problem.
Are you telling me right now I just bought a weapon in Normie Town and then you took us to the okay.
I think I just did the same thing here.
Yeah.
I
So-
didn't tell you to buy your weapons there.
Then I think we got fucking
So
police
this
on
was
us.
the house that you enter
I
in
agree.
through, and then you entered in
wonder-
here, and at either
If
end,
we really should trust those around us.
is this wall that goes up beyond what you can see, and all along that are shops.
Nickelodeon. I'm about to find hella poison.
Can I see if there's a gunsmith?
Well, let me get to my item list.
Can I
Couldn't
please
print
shoot
anything else.
something? I need my drugs after this.
I'm looking for the mother drugs.
Also, any locksmith?
What you tryna?
My soul.
Up to other people.
Knocking it shall be open to you.
Yes.
All right, so
Oh, is that what-
where you're trying to find a gunsmith,
Maybe.
you're trying to find like pieces and parts and all that sort of thing. What
Yeah.
is Saphine going to
I'm
look
looking for all kinds of poison and medicine.
Okay. Let's do it this way. We're gonna go around the circle. So, what would remember go? Would remember just be like
What the fuck?
Tripping balls right now.
She's on acid right now.
No idea what's going on.
Okay. So
Can I delay my turn until I see what everybody else does?
that's perfectly fine. Where is Angrod heading?
Books. Any kind of books, any kind of magic, like supply stuff.
There is definitely, you can see magic everywhere here. Like, there's just, like,
Instantly more comfortable.
this
Bastards, they're like, oh, magic is scary. Let's go see the Bone Man, drink his fucking tea, and go to Magic Town where they have magic shit.
Magic Town. Welcome to Flavor Town.
Dungeons and Dragons and drive-ins and dives.
So
no
you
magic in
do.
Garage.
So
There is no
Angerod
magic
walking
in
down
Garage.
this street. Angerod does
No legal magic
is
in
able
Garage.
to see a bookseller, and what's very interesting about this, which the two like you've never been here before. You've always just kind of assumed people keep their voices down to like keep the allure. You recognize a silent spell when you walk through it. And there is a silent spell around the doorway of every single building. So as soon as you step through it, you don't hear your heels on the cobbles as you pass through it, and then you are in this beautifully decorated stall. And there is just spell work and scrolls and books everywhere. And yeah, let me see who I had here.
When I lose all my pens.
Nope, that's an eyeliner.
Do you need a pen?
No, I have my. I don't know what I do with my pen. Yeah, we do.
Hey Carly, can you grab me a water bottle from the fridge? Thank you.
Can you grab me in Arizona? There's still one in the fridge.
What?
There isn't one close to here if you're looking for a bug.
Just one right here. Thank you.
Okay. And so you see a gnome gentleman turn and look up at you, and he has his mask on, and he shrugs his cloak a little bit, and he bows. And how may I help the Graveman's friends?
I am interested to see what you carry in way of the metaphysical.
I carry pretty much whatever I can get my hands on. Are you looking for anything in particular?
We're forming some level 1 or level 2 spell. Or cantrip, I am not picky.
Well, I certainly have the lower tier here, and he just gestures to like bins of scrolls. Just bins of them.
Like the DVDs at Walmart.
Pretty much.
No
You have to find a water scroll.
And they're
It's gonna
just-
teach you how to water bed.
And they're just like kind of shoved in any which way. And over here I have a bit more of the more stronger ones, and he gestures to a wall where they're a bit tidier. And I have a few higher end pieces, but that depends on how much you're willing to spend.
What do you mean by higher end?
I mean, how much are you willing to spend?
Do I look cheap?
See, that's a trap.
And you are a smart man.
Thank you.
Add a second date. Second date.
Fucking water
Angeron gets around town.
What is it you're looking for in particular?
I am looking to expand my repertoire. And if you happen to have any items that might help me on my future travels, I am widely traveled, and I expect to be even more widely traveled in the next little bit here. And anything that would help me in either my travels or the conflicts that I might face in my travels would be wonderful.
Well, these are our weakest ones. Well, the most versatile, whoever you tend to be and whatever you tend to think. These here are going to run you about 20 gold apiece. And those would be cantrips.
What? I'm sorry, I should have opened with this. What was your name?
Toma.
And finish out my notes. Sorry. So cantrips are 20 gold.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a spell that I would be able to use at all times.
You're right.
Okay. And then what about something a little bit higher than the baseline?
These here, just a little bit stronger. They're going to run you 40 gold apiece.
Level 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wanted to be even stronger?
And he goes over to a glass case and he pulls one out, and this is going to run you about 300.
Oh, level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Good God. And this is not the cost that it would incur for me to try and add it to my spell book. This is just acquiring the
Yeah,
spell.
this is just to get the spell.
Damn.
Okay.
This wizard is.
Keep in mind that you are in the black market,
Yeah.
in a town where magic is like a no-go.
Yeah. These are heckin' expensive.
Like if he got caught with these, they would just kill him.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So, side note, this whole realm thing makes me think of Valerian when they go to that market, the virtual market. Anybody see the movie?
Mm-mm.
No. Oh, never mind. I'm only nerd.
We're playing D&D, man. You're right there with the rest of us.
I know. No, there's a scene in Valerian, and it's kind of like one of the opening missions, and they go to this planet, and you have to go through this portal, and you have these VR gloves and goggles, and it allows you to see into this market that's the largest market in the entire universe, and you go and you buy everything, and you can interact. It's like you're there basically, but it's just this big open empty desert type area. But the items you buy there, you get teleported back to the planet you're at type of thing. It's really cool. But it makes me think of this where it's you're in this alternate realm but not really.
And he's watching a little bit, and would you like to see what I mean by how much money you have?
Show me what you've got.
And he steps back and he opens something up and he pulls out this beautiful glass case with this dark spell, it's clearly a dark spell work written all around it. This one, have you ever heard of Disintegrate?
I have.
This one is a nasty piece of work, but if you're in the market for something a little higher end.
Is this a one-time use, or is this something that I could potentially learn to perform?
Oh no, you can read this and perform this at your leisure.
And how much for this one?
20,000.
Holy shit!
I mean, if I'm remembering, it's a level 6 spell.
Damn, that would bump your ass way up there.
Yeah, let me just look at my. Oh, never gonna happen. Got it.
I don't know.
We're yeah, I rolled a D8 and I add 2 to it, and meanwhile Angron is he fucking dissolves.
Ritten's got a
Your
job for
ashes
us.
blow in the wind.
Ritten's got a job for us. It pays $1 million.
It's the last job you guys are ever gonna need to take.
Guys, this is the last job before you retire.
The job we retire on.
That's
$1
awesome.
million gold.
Style.
Can you even carry 20,000 gold?
It translates into platinum and stuff
Oh,
like that,
okay.
yeah.
Even then.
I think it comes where a sleeping man
You
comes.
don't worry about encumbrance with
2 more sleeping
Yeah,
men.
2 more sleeping mans, we can afford it.
I don't think that this is something that I am interested in at this very moment. But it is interesting
Believe you me, buddy, when we get
that you would
20,000.
have. I've seen many things. And this one. Don't let it get into the wrong hands.
Oh, don't you worry. The Graveman makes sure that everything stays tidy. And he goes and he tucks it back away.
For the moment, I believe that I would like to take one of your weaker scrolls and one of the slightly more powerful ones.
Very well.
Since I am doing both of them, And since we are a flat night, would you be willing to perhaps give me both for 45 gold pieces?
You're wanting me to drop the cost of the lower one almost entirely.
It depends on how good of friends we are.
I don't think we're that close.
Damn, she didn't even let you roll.
No, she didn't.
The way that I've been doing it is like percentages. So you just asked him to drop it like more than 40%.
It is the culture of Gran.
Okay.
Like, that's moolah baby.
So like haggling is one thing, but then like dropping something that hard that fast is kind of insulting to some NPCs.
You lowball and then they walk you up. This is how it works. Alright, that's fine. Obviously, you don't want to be my friend. That's okay. 60 gold pieces. For it.
And pick at your leisure.
Thank you. And I will pay him 60 gold pieces, and I'll tell you which spells I take later.
Yeah, sounds good.
Nice.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, so
Solid.
now you get to go ahead and pick a cantrip and a first level spell. Alright, and Temzin. Where is Temzin going off to? Is Temzin just walking around, or...
Walking through, is it possible to get a sense of what's available?
There's a lot. A lot of these buildings kind of share space with one another, so you can see in and you can see like some might have weapons on the wall, while some, like the same building on the opposite wall has like a bunch of herbs and stuff like that. You can see a couple people who are gambling. They have dice, they have cards, they have all kinds of stuff going on at like a table by that far wall there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can see there's quite a bit.
This is where we find out about Temzin's gambling addiction.
No, no symbols that would indicate anything.
No.
Okay. Being from.
Go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Okay. I'm gonna borrow your check. Oh, what's my? It's +4, I think. Yeah. That was almost an 18. Freaking 6.
Okay.
Oh.
That was rough.
You, as Temzin is walking along the street and kind of looking in through doors and windows and trying to get a sense of just what is going on here, as you pass by a stall, it does have some familiar stuff inside. Like you see this huge hammer on the wall, you see a whip coiled up.
I told you.
But other than that, you...
Oh.
Temzin will approach and go into that store
Okay.
front. But I was gonna ask, would I'd be able to tell that there's clear like magic here?
Oh, yeah.
Magic is not good. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And so you step through, and just like Angrod, like you can hear where your steps just kind of go silent for about 2 feet, and then you're in this stall, and there's 2 gentlemen leaning up against the side of it, and this looks more like a tent as compared to the rest of it, and they glance down at you and they're, oh, hello, it's been a while then. Did you find anything other than these to sell? And they gesture to like a pile of swords.
So it's the same people that I sold all those like things to before.
Oh my god.
Well, I haven't been selling much, but yes, it's been a while. Good to see you. How's business been?
Going fine enough? Are you in the market again?
I'm always interested in seeing what's available.
He doesn't have a girlfriend, if that's what you're asking.
Mr. Bean just standing behind him. And one of them glances, no, we were wondering if he's wanting to.
She just walks away.
Hey,
Okay.
don't
Okay.
pay her any mind.
Floats backwards up.
She drinks some tea.
Okay.
But yes, what do you have available?
Well, here we have a bit more than we could have publicly. We also found out that club, not a club.
I found that out as well, actually.
Professor Knack was thrilled.
I'm sure.
His
I
first
bet.
name, Nick.
Cat is
Out,
his
get
last
out.
name, Cat.
No.
She's gesturing at the phone.
Yes, that is what I meant.
Did I get these guys' names?
Nick.
They work for Professor Knack.
I thought I had their names, but I don't think I did. That's okay.
Oh my god.
Here we sell some fake military uniforms that should get you in most places, and we have the matching uniforms that go along with them if you need that. Let's see, what else have we got? And they just kind of start like glancing over stuff, and they're, what is it that you're hoping for?
Well, you know, I always thought it would be cool if there was something that could help me, be a little more, defensive to attacks without necessarily wearing armor. Because that kind of hinders my fighting style.
Yeah, we don't really have like armor. Oh my god, you know what he'd like? Yeah, I know what he'd. And they like start like frantically looking through stuff, and then they're like, "You like your crossbow? Yeah, you had the."
Yes, I had a
Okay,
crossbow.
great. And they like keep digging, and then one of them is like, "I like this. I think you'll like this," and it looks like a small crossbow that can be fit onto your arm. And they're like, this is called the Needler.
So Tenzin's gonna like pick it up and kind of
And
start
he's like-
analyzing it. And, as I
And
look
you
at
can
it,
see that unlike a typical crossbow bolt, this looks like it has a small canister. And it does, in fact, fire needles. And this actually has, instead of just attacking once with it, the number of attacks for the Needler is equal to your proficiency bonus.
Damn.
So as your proficiency bonus goes up, the attacks that you'll have with the Needler will also go up.
Interesting. How large is it?
It fits onto.
Okay, so
Yeah,
like
it
my
just-
robe would conceal it.
Yeah, it's a concealable, like it. You know,
Assassin's
like you won't
Creed,
have
but
to,
needles.
like you won't have to carry crossbow bolts. You don't have to carry
Right.
a crossbow. It's a very small device that.
And I have lots of needles.
Mhm.
And how much are you asking for this?
That one's going to be 180 gold.
All right, 180 gold.
Would I have enough sense to know that if I pulled out Hiss, then I was like, will you buy it from me? Like, if they would take kindly to that joke, or if that would be a poor decision.
You don't know.
Oh, I won't.
Wait, is a dart the same as a needle?
No,
Okay.
a dart is a bit big. Like this this takes needles.
Needles?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't sure, because I have darts that I throw. I didn't know if needles were the same thing.
And I do have the stats that I've got written down for all these fun things that I've created.
Am I allowed to know what those are?
Yes. So this one takes it holds 10 needles at a time.
Okay.
Each one is +2 to hit, and it's 1d4 per attack.
1d4 per needle?
Per needle. Yeah.
Okay. So if I fired, say, 3 needles, each one would do.
It would be 1d4, 1d4, 1d4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said
180.
180. Well, it is a beauty. There is a lot here for me to see. This is my first time here, actually, and it's pretty impressive. So I do kind of want to get a lay for the land before I make any final decisions.
And they're like, makes sense. So they like put it so that you can see it perfectly, like on a shelf.
It's a beautiful display you got there.
It works.
It does.
And if this is your first time, do make sure you say goodbye to the Graveman when you leave.
Duly noted. Thank you. So Tamsin's gonna go out and like walk around to get a lay
Okay.
or see what else is going
Right.
on.
And since you are, would you say that you guys are all kind of meandering around? Because I can read down my list that I have written, if you would like to know the full sum of things that are at the.
I think that sounds good.
Okay.
And then whatever catches our attention, we'll just
Right.
remember to bring it.
So, as well as the gambling stalls, you also see a couple people that are just kind of lingering around and talking, and there is a sign next to them saying cost per hour, and that's it. It just says cost per hour. And then you see a store that has a bunch of ink, that has a bunch of parchment and quills, and it says any signature over the door. You see things with what looks like Lucky Charms. You see different like cloaks. You see, yes, cereal.
Delicious.
You also see a small claque that has dragons in cages, small dragons in cages. It has pixies. It has what looks like very tiny mermaids that are in these tanks, as well as it says various hides on the side of it, and you can see what is very clearly like mermaid skin and what might be something from a chimera, what might be something from a griffin, just all like pulled taut.
You could say it's a creature clacker.
It's a creature clacker. You also see what it just looks like spell components and like different various potions. You can see a place that looks like it has different sorts of herbs in little glass jars. You also see like a trinket seller. They have just a bunch of different stuff. And you also see a tattoo parlor set up.
I was gonna fucking ask about a tattoo parlor.
Hell yeah. Can I interject on what Cynthia's going to do?
Mhm.
She's going to go back to that stall
Okay.
that Tamsin was just at, because I'm assuming this is the best place to go. And she takes the freaking, what's it called? The quiver. And just holds it on the table. What will you give me for this?
And they kind of look at it and they're.
Can I? And she like picks up one of the longer items,
Mm-hmm.
and then she just goes.
And they both like grab each other and they're
And
like.
she just keeps going. She just finds whatever she can and starts shoving it all in
Tamsin, see
there.
her go back in.
Yeah.
He's just watching what's happening.
And eventually, like it doesn't hold
Yeah.
anything else, but it's holding a considerable amount, and they're both like clutching each other, and they're like, "Where did you get that?"
Why does it matter?
Because it's fucking cool. That's why.
How much will you give me for it?
Oh, it's not
They're
fucking
Bill and
anything.
Ted, but like
How much?
slightly smarter.
How much do you want for it?
No, this is not the
20,000 gold pieces.
Well, and they like start whispering back and forth, and they're like,
Something that's interesting.
hold on, go get Tama, and like one of them like runs off to the person that you were just speaking with, and this like gnome gentleman comes walking over, and he's, all right, what is that? And they're like, no, just use the one thing. And sure enough, he starts to do the ritual spell for identify, and he goes through it, and he's,
I can do that too. I'm that cool.
and he's like.
Still bitter.
And he's like, my cut? And they're like, yeah, your cut. And then he like goes back to his stall, and they're like, we'll give you. Hold on, let me.
20,000 GPs.
30,000.
$10 million.
Also,
All of the money you ever made.
You know, let's just throw a number out there. 3,000 platinum.
We can give you 1,300.
Shame. And then she just like turns it upside down and empties all of it out.
Is that a no then?
I was hoping for something a little bit, more godly. And then she turns around and
Wait,
says,
godly, why godly? Why godly?
if you were able to assess that, you would know why. I think your friends a little cheap for your blood. You should consider your partnership with him. And then just continues to walk
And
away.
they're like, it's a quiver of hope. Isn't it a quiver of hope? They're like,
Maybe you've heard the name Felena.
and they're like,
And then keeps walking.
and they're like, yeah, might have. We might have heard that.
She does the anime wave as she like holds her one backpack in her hand and goes, think about it, I'll be back.